Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Rick here. I am going to be doing these kinds of videos pre-recorded and sometimes streaming. This is going to be something that's going to be a regular thing starting next year. And I thought I'd start off with my reactions to the first part of what is arguably the most ambitious TV crossover of all time. Crisis on Infinite Earths. Or should I say Arrow Crisis on Infinite Earths, because that's what this is. This isn't actually a shot-for-shot adaptation. This is somewhat of a loose adaptation, but instead with the comic characters, this is now with the Arrowverse characters. And I guess you could say all of the TV and movie characters there too. I've been hyped for this all year, like everyone else, ever since it was teased at the end of Elseworlds last year, around this time. And the more and more I saw of it, the more I and everyone else kept thinking, this is going to be legendary. 5 parts, 5 hours of nothing but greatness, and it's finally here. Now, this isn't going to be a scripted review. This is actually just going to be off-scripted because I just want to give you my general first impressions of how I felt. Because I think everyone right now, if you go on Twitter, if you go on Facebook, if you follow the Arrowverse, if you have been like me following it since Arrow started back in 2012, this first part got a lot of reactions, mostly where I'm at, but some people were kind of pissed at the ending. Like, they were ranting on Twitter on how fucked up it was to go the way they went for the ending to just this first episode. There won't be many spoilers. I'm just going to talk about the big spoiler because I feel like if you are behind on the Arrowverse, if you want to catch up, then now's your chance. Or if you are just tuning into this crossover to see how it's adapted or see certain characters come back or be introduced, then you probably won't care. But in any event, here we go. So, right away, I gotta say, the opening was just fantastic. Having it be voiceover of the Monitor telling us how the universe was created and how infinite Earths were created, that was a great introduction. It reminded me very much of the original comic and Justice League Crisis on Two Earths. I loved that movie, and to pay tribute to that and the comic was just great. We get to see immediately why the Anti-Monitor is a huge big deal. We won't see him, but till probably, I don't know, maybe part 3, 4, and 5. So if you're expecting to see him in tomorrow's episode or in this episode, you're going to be disappointed because it's just him sending out an antimatter wave that is going from universe to universe, destroying them, destroying their Earths and their whole universe in general. And right away, and the first 4 Earths to go are Earth 89, and if you get what Earth 89 is specifically is, say if you're a Tim Burton fan of a certain movie he did, then you're going to love that. We even got a character to come back for the first time since said movie. The second one was... Okay, this is kind of a huge spoiler. The second one was Titans. Yes, Titans actually did show up. Now, there are 2 things. One, they did take out the blue filter. So if you're like me, High Tops, or anyone else, and you hate the blue fucking filter on this show, they actually took it out. So thank God to them. It's too bad they can't take it out every fucking episode on every fucking season, but whatever. And I won't tell you which Titans appeared, but it's not the main ones you're thinking of. Like, the two that they showed were so random. I'm surprised they did not show one of the main cast of characters, but, hey, whatever. Then we got to see Earth X come back. We even saw the Ray flying around. And then finally, we saw Earth 66. Now, okay, this one is obvious. I'm not even going to try and hide it. This Earth, much like Earth 89, is another Batman universe. But we do not see Burt Ward as, say, Burt Ward himself. No, he is actually a retired Robin. Because there were rumors that he was just playing himself as an Earth 1 cameo, but it turns out no, that is retired Dick Grayson, and he is from Earth 66, which, by the way, the music cues for these Earths, wow, just freaking wow, man. Like, it hasn't even been an hour, and already these music cues going with these montages of Earth getting destroyed, man, it was fucking great. And yes, of course, they would have been insane and downright fucking stupid to not do this. We do get a Burt Ward Robin Holy, and it was awesome. Like, just great. I loved it. Even though he was only there for maybe a couple of seconds, it was still worth it to see him. I am happy that we got to see him. And then the rest of the episode is just the Monitor sending out Lila, I'm just going to call her Lila, to go pick up all of these different heroes and bring them together to try and save Supergirl's Earth, because her Earth is next. In fact, her homeworld of Argo City has just been destroyed by the antimatter wave. Thankfully, Superman and Lois Lane were saved by Lila, and they did send off baby Jonathan Kent, but he didn't exactly make it. There is a whole subplot with Sarah, Lois, and Brainiac 5 trying to go find him. It's very great. It led to a pretty damn good emotional scene and a familiar place that we did see back in Legends of Tomorrow Season 1, but somewhat different. That's all I'll say. But yeah, so that's essentially what this whole first episode is. It's just them trying to stop Earth 38 from getting destroyed. But slowly as it goes on, and the more that they try to fend off, when we find out that the Monitor had put these quantum towers into specific Earths to hold off the antimatter wave from destroying them, or maybe even stop them from destroying the Earth completely, eventually it's just the heroes trying to stop anything from destroying that quantum tower. And it ends with them losing. Like, we're talking Infinity War style losing the battle. Kara's Earth is destroyed. Half of its population is gone, and yeah, she's lost her home. She's lost 2 of her homes and her whole universe. And just to have that drop on her was just fucking crazy, because we all knew Kara was going to merge with Earth 1, but to have her Earth and her universe get destroyed in just the first part, even when it looks like it could be saved, just wow. The effects were very great. I did like the effects, even though I wish this has always been my fucking problem with goddamn Warner Brothers is that they don't invest a lot of money into their DC properties. Like the Arrowverse shows, as we all know, they're not exactly, the biggest in terms of spectacle, but when they do crossovers like this, they actually have to save the funds to do stuff like this. It just sucks that Warner Brothers could not increase their budget or really go all out. Because, don't get me wrong, this first part feels very cinematic. And there's high points, low points, there's emotions in there, and it feels tense. But by the end of it, you kind of forget that. Okay, you forget and you're reminded that this is just part one, but it leaves you feeling kind of empty and depressed because our heroes lost the battle, and it was a huge battle. It was just the beginning. But it just would have been much more better if Warner Brothers actually gave a shit and gave them the fucking money they need. Because, come on. Just splurge on them a little. Is that so hard? And I say the last thing that I didn't like was I haven't exactly watched Supergirl in some time, and for obvious reasons, when what was going on with her set of characters showed up in this first episode, I won't lie, I wish they just would have wrapped it before this episode and just showed a little bit of it in the first part, because I think it just would have overall made the episode even more better, because focusing on what's going on now while also reminding us of what's going on in these characters' own seasons, it just doesn't mesh well with me or a lot of people. But thankfully, it wasn't the focus of it, like the Arrow invasion episode, which wasn't even a fucking goddamn. It wasn't even a crossover episode. It was just a fucking Arrow episode. And that's it. Here, though, not the case. And let's just go ahead and talk about just the big spoiler, because there's really not much I can say about the acting other than it is crazy how far the acting has come. I know the Arrowverse gets a lot of flack with people criticizing it and just beating it like a dead horse, but in this fucking episode and over the course of the seasons, the acting has been Emmy caliber worthy. It surprises me that none of these fucking actors have won a damn Emmy. Like, seriously, they've come along greatly. Obviously Stephen Amell, Ruby Rose, Grant Gustin, Melissa Benoist, Katie Lotz, Tyler Hoechlin, like, all of them did such a fantastic job, and it made me care about these heroes, even though most of them are going to make it out of this okay. Some of them are going to die, which that leads into the spoiler. The spoiler. This is what has gotten everyone around the world shouting, "What in the holy actual fuck is this shit?" So here we go. You have been warned. If you do not want to know about this, if you haven't seen the episode yet, go watch it. If you haven't caught up yet, go catch up, then watch this. Or if you just don't care, here we go. They kill off Oliver Queen in the first episode. He ends up dying by the end, sacrificing himself so that he can save an extra billion set of people from Kara's Earth and universe. He runs out of arrows, but even before that, the Monitor teleports all the other heroes away because he doesn't want them to waste their efforts on a losing battle. So all of them, except for Oliver, are gone. And Oliver refuses to go because he doesn't want to abandon these people. So he takes all of these. He takes on the threat. For those of you that have read the book, or you haven't, I'll just say the minions that are dispersed by the Anti-Monitor are no fucking joke. Like, they give our heroes a huge challenge. They make the invasion creatures, I cannot remember their names for the life of me, I'm sorry, look like a bunch of papier-mâché cats. Oliver stays to fight them off. Even with no arrows, he makes his last stand. And by the end of the episode, he dies, but his death was somewhat not in vain because he saved 3 billion people out of 7 billion. Now, this death was emotional. I know it's not as emotional as some people or most people would have wanted it to be, because we've been building up since the end of Elseworlds that Oliver is going to die, but we did not expect it to be this early. Like, this is the first part, and he's already dead. He's dead. That's it. There's no bullshit here. Everyone's reactions to it, the characters, not the audiences, was very, very heart-wrenching, especially him saying goodbye to Barry, to Kara, and his daughter. I wish he would have gotten to really say goodbye to Sarah, but if you want to count the subplot, then he kind of already did, but Sarah essentially had to say goodbye to Oliver for real this time. I'll just leave it at that. But whatever. It was quite a... It wasn't just a tearjerker. The way they wrote this, the way Amel performed it, it just made you fucking depressed and shocked and sad. It made you angry. It made you feel all of these raw emotions in the first damn hour. That's crazy. So, yeah. And now, for those who are overreacting way too much on Twitter, because there are a lot of people that are ranting, saying this was a disrespectful way for Oliver to die, even though we all knew it was going to happen. Yes, it was unexpected, it had to happen this soon, but it was going to happen regardless. But fear not, without spoiling anything, this isn't the last we're going to see of Oliver Queen. I guarantee you, I can guarantee you this, that we will see him give a proper goodbye to the show, to the series, and just overall the Arrowverse in general. So fear not, we will see more of Oliver, but for now, he's dead. It feels like Infinity War for all of us all over again. Except this time, our heroes did not just lose the battle. They not only lost a home, but they lost a friend. It's almost... It's like if Endgame... Okay, imagine if Avengers Endgame started off and they killed off Tony Stark in the first hour, in the first act. Could you imagine how pissed everyone would have been if they did that? I mean, obviously Marvel, the Russos, none of them were going to do it, but it would have been ballsy of them to at least try, which that's something I got to give Mark Guggenheim and the writers. They had the fucking balls to kill off Oliver in the first hour. Yeah, I'm sure it's pissed a lot of people off. It's made people depressed. I'm one of them. I'm pissed. I'm not that much pissed, but I'm depressed. I feel like I just got the life sucked out of me, and I think that's good, because When something like this makes you feel these things, that's how you know this is good shit. And overall, this is the beginning of something you just were not expecting. And that's even crazier. We just entered the crisis and we lost Oliver. It's crazy. But yeah, if I were to give this episode kind of a grading, it would obviously be a B plus. It's a solid episode. It is arguably the best first part since Crisis on Earth X. It's obviously better than the first part of Elseworlds from last year and the first part of Invasion. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to watch this episode like 2 or 3 more times to really just dissect it and let it sink in. But I will be doing this again for part 2 and part 3, and then eventually part 4 and part 5 when they come out next year. So, yeah, if you saw this episode, let me know what you thought of it down below. Just, let's get a conversation going. I don't know how to feel now. Well, I'm tired. It's like 1 in the morning right now, so I think I'm probably going to sleep this off. But, yeah, guys, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this reaction to this gigantic fucking crossover. And I will do this again tomorrow, so let's see where it goes, I guess. But until then, I'll see you guys for the next one. Have a good night, everybody. This is Rick, signing off.